everybody, I'm back again today, this time reacting to a video recommended to me by Cutie Eevee called How I Got Started, the Making of A Night of Total Terror 1996. So if you watched my video from last week, you'll realize that this is a making of the video I watched last week. So let's check it out together, shall we? Yeah. Oh, scary. Yep, Cinemassacre.
This is the story of taking nothing and making it into something. It's about discovering what it is that you love to do and making it into your life's work. And I'm going to be talking to you about it from the present as well as the past.
Okay.
Because I've already been documenting it during my teenage years. As a kid, I was an obsessive movie fan and still am, and began collecting lots of VHS tapes of classic horror movies, which I still have to this day. I wanted to make my own movies, but that was impossible, I thought. Nobody makes movies, except major Hollywood producers with millions of dollars to spend. I made some movies before this, but I was never satisfied with them. Let's hear what my teenage self has to say.
I used to make a lot of movies, but it was very, very difficult because I never had any actors to play in them. And there were very few kids in my neighborhood, and it seemed like everyone was always busy.
I took another look at my older movies that I made mostly when I was 12 and 13, and I noticed how much I was able to do without any actors other than myself. I was inspired to do something new. It was just an ordinary hot weekend in May 1996. I had nothing to do. I was bored out of my mind. I was just sitting in my room listening to the droning sounds of lawnmowers. And then I decided to get up and do something. The result, a night of total terror.
It was
filmed
scary.
by me, alone, 15 years old at the time. It was made over the weekend, filmed in less than 2 days.
I had no actors other than myself.
Cool.
I had no
I didn't
editing
know
tools.
that.
The idea of editing on computers was such a far-fetched idea.
Yeah.
I mean, like science fiction stuff. No internet. I had no guaranteed audience. I'd be lucky if 5 people saw the movie. All I had was a VHS camera, some Halloween masks, and a backyard.
They
An
were all
empty
him.
canvas for my imagination. A bright, hot, sunny day, which I imagined as the opposite. A dark, creepy night.
I didn't even have an idea. I just made it up as I went on.
I was influenced by Nosferatu and Night of the Living Dead and wanted to capture that same kind of haunting atmosphere. I decided to make it a black and white silent movie.
Yeah.
The actual camera wasn't able to do that, so I'd have to turn the color down on the TV and mute the volume.
And this film, in fact, is silent and encourages you to use your eyes and try to figure out the story.
It seems like the most primitive of home movies. It looks so amateurish, and despite its title, not a single shot takes place at night. Nobody would ever think how significant this humble little movie could be to starting somebody's career, nor have any idea how difficult it was to make. Because I didn't have any possible way to edit, I had to shoot the entire movie in order. I already explained this procedure in my Cinemassacre 200 documentary, but basically the idea is that you have to shoot the entire movie in camera. Whatever gets shot on the tape is the final movie, so you have to get everything perfect. There's no editing. If you get a bad take, you have to rewind the tape and re-record over it.
So then I would play back the tape, rewind it to the exact part where the next sequence is to cut in. And I messed up a lot of times because it was so hard. I had to film many scenes over and over again.
Wow.
The camera had no LCD monitor, no way to tell if I was in frame or not. Even worse, I didn't have a tripod.
The trick of filming myself was that I set the camera down on a chair, a stack of boxes or books, or whatever I could find to get the camera at the perfect position. It was very hard to do. You have no idea how much trouble I went through.
I see.
I had a very hard time making this movie. I did the first half all by myself. I acted as everyone.
Oh, wow.
I had to switch costumes really fast, and since I didn't have a camera person, I had to turn the camera on myself and then run into position at lightning speed before the recording would start. The hardest part of all was the part where the troll came out of the closet. And one thing that ruined it was that the cape would keep getting stuck in the doors. And, because, when I run, the cape goes into the air and all. I didn't have enough time to get all the way to the closet. I took the costume off and put it in the closet so I would get into the closet and
Become the monster.
I still couldn't get into the closet without the camcorder catching me. I moved the camcorder closer. I set it on these chairs so I wouldn't have such a great distance to run. Well, after several tries, I finally got one that was satisfying. And what I was doing in the closet was putting the costume on, so, it took me a while. So you're waiting an extremely long time before the doors finally open. And during the pause, it becomes quite obvious that a flashlight is shining on the doors. How would I make it all the way over here
That's
before
cool.
the recording would start? So what I did was, I begged my mom to record it for me. The part where I met that masked ghoul looked like it was two people, but it was really only me.
Oh, wow.
But in just one frame, it was my sister. I forced her to play as the ghoul, and I made her tuck all her hair under the cape so you couldn't tell. But as soon as she came up all the way up the steps, right there, then it's me.
Oh, wow.
And then it's only me from then on. Oh, I also have to mention the part where the ghoul hits me with the cane. Can't say that hit was fake. It was real. I meant to just, I was going like this, making it look like someone else was hitting me. I meant to hit the rim of my hat, but I accidentally whacked myself across the forehead. Every time I switched to the other guy, I had to change my shirt. And in this one scene, I forgot to change, and you could see that I'm wearing a different shirt.
Oh.
I also had to be careful not to show the rat bite on my neck. I used fake blood and some kind of black stuff. I don't know what it was. I used makeup or whatever I could find. It must have looked real because as I was walking around the house during the making of the movie, people kept saying to me, "What happened to your neck?" I forgot that I was holding on to the lamp.
The lamp.
And when I walked in through the door, you see that I'm not holding it. So for an excuse, I acted as if it was only in my pocket. So I took it out of my pocket, and you see that I had a little trouble doing so. I wanted this to be good, so I even fixed up the backgrounds. And they often appeared dark or messed up somehow, so I had to lay flashlights around and everything. And stack up a bunch of boxes and place a light on top like this and hide it just off the screen. I was getting power from the wall, and these wires were stretched out really tightly, and they always got in the way. I tripped over the wire, the lamp fell, and the bulb broke as it hit the floor. Another problem I had was that I was so hot. After one of the takes was over, I yelled, "I'm dying," and I threw off my shirt. And then a disaster occurred. I'll get to that now. Whoever made that fan on my ceiling has made the chain way, way too long. It was about 2 feet.
Caught the clothes.
And when I threw my shirt off, the shirt hit the chain and knocked it all the way up into the fan. Never has it been completely tangled all the way inside the fan so that we couldn't get it out without getting our hands chopped off. We had to turn out all the power in the house. And even then it was still hard to get out, but we got it. And then we tied up the chain. During that eyeball scene, I placed the camera on top of this box.
Oh.
Except that it was the actual box where I stored my props inside. The eyeball I needed was inside the box.
Yeah?
So I could have simply took the camera off and reached in and got the eyeball out, but the camera was in a certain position and I would have had to set it up all over again. So I reached into the box, feeling around carefully for that eyeball, trying not to disturb the camera, but I failed miserably. The camera fell, collided with the floor for about the 4th time.
Oh.
In the kitchen scene, I took a butcher knife. So just as I was about to go out the door, all of a sudden, my sister came walking in. And when she saw me coming at her with that butcher knife, she jumped back and screamed. She acted like it was entirely all my fault. I didn't know she was going to come through the door.
My adventures in
That's
filmmaking
hilarious.
had only begun. I was already starting to learn the difficulties involved and the dangers. Don't use real hatchets, even when you think nobody's around. Whenever something seems simple, it's never simple. And this was just a small project. To this day, I've learned that the bigger the project,
More
the bigger
complicated.
the problems.
Yeah.
The next day, I showed the half-finished movie to my friends who lived next door. They said it was awesome, and even better, they wanted to be in it.
They wanted to be,
so
yeah, I was gonna
that's
say,
how
I
I
thought
got
there were
my
people.
actors back. The second half of the movie was a totally different experience.
It felt
Having
different.
help from friends made the process much more enjoyable, and when I watched the finished product, it felt appropriate that the movie picks up pace as it goes on. It starts off slow and then accelerates to an action-packed finale and a twist ending. For the first time, I was happy with something that I did. Even though it seems like nothing now, it gave me the confidence to pursue filmmaking as a career. That single weekend was the turning point of my life and defined who I am.
It was a truly impossible thing to do, but I
That's
did
really
it.
cool.
Less than a year after it was made, I was already looking back at it, doing behind-the-scenes documentaries, making minor re-edits using 2 VCRs, and even making a shortened version for the internet in 2006. I made a sequel called An Evening of Real Supernatural Horror, a remake called Malevolence, a real short version for college shot on 16mm film, and Curse of the Cat Lover's Grave, which borrowed many elements from the story. I've made several movies since, each one I regard higher than the last. I've kept up with long-running web series and made a feature film, a culmination of my life's work, containing all the things I love. It all started from a simple, boring weekend when I decided to give movie making a try. If my story sounds at all similar to yours, if you're that kid sitting around dreaming about doing something awesome, then you're me. I encourage everyone to use their free
so
time
sweet.
to do positive, creative things. Maybe you're into making music or writing or drawing, or maybe it's not the arts. Maybe you're trying to be a doctor. Whatever it is, just go for it. Start practicing it or researching it, however it applies. Maybe you don't know what you want exactly. I tried all different kinds of art forms before I settled on filmmaking, so just try different things and experiment. As time goes on, new technologies will emerge. For example, YouTube. You take what you've learned and you apply it to that new technology when it comes along, so things will run its course naturally.
Yeah.
It's been about 20 years since I made that movie, and I haven't changed at all. Except for shaving that goddamn mustache. But seriously, my life has changed even though I haven't, because now I have adult responsibilities and very little free time. So that feeling of being bored and trying to fill the time, that is so far in the past now.
That's
but
fair.
I never forgot and never will. Especially when the summer weather starts kicking in, I'm always reminded of that day back in '96. That hot sunny day, or that night of total terror.
That's so cool. Wow. That was a lot of fun. I think I appreciate the movie even more now having seen this. I'll see you all again next time. Until then, bye-bye.